We got some wild new updates, y'all.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal.
What's up? Yes, y'all, we're back with another conversation about a case that we really haven't gotten to really talk about for a good minute now. And now there's some new updates and some new things that are coming on that I think that we all need to talk about. And also, I will say this too. I may have been right. Yeah. Your boy might be a genius. I'm just going to say it. Okay? With all due respect, I may be right. Now, I had a theory. I did a short a while back where I said maybe she was discarded somewhere else. He went out there, or someone in that Tesla went out to go get her somewhere else. She was either buried or discarded somewhere else, and then she was put into that Tesla, and then that person drove that Tesla back to the Hollywood Hills, parking it outside down the street from the actual mansion that he was living in before he went off on tour. Now, here's the thing. We are now hearing new information. We all were wondering what was going on here. We are all wondering, did the police forget about this case? Did they just suddenly decide not to push forward and try to take this mother lover down? Well, we have now found out some new information that we talked about in the live. You know, it was breaking news at that moment. David has finally been named as a suspect in this unaliving or the demise of this young girl, 14-year-old Celeste Rivas, which is about damn time. If you want to know my opinion, okay? It's about damn time. I thought they literally just forgot. You know, LAPD busy out here doing other things, I guess, right? I'm kidding. But at the same time, it is pretty ridiculous that we are now finally at the place where he is finally being named a suspect. We also hear that he hasn't been cooperating with police at all whatsoever, and people are still trying to figure out where could he be. In my theory, my thoughts, he could literally be home with his parents, hiding out, just playing Xbox, Fortnite, I don't know what he plays, okay? And writing new songs. That could be it. He could just be sitting there waiting for the moment when police come in and detain him. That could literally be it. But nonetheless, we now hear new information that is confirming my theory, which is I think this young girl had been gone for a lot longer than just a few months. I think she was gone several months ago. And because of her being a constant runaway, and because her parents were having a hard time keeping tabs on her. She was constantly home, or she'd run away. Then she'd stay in the Hollywood Hills, and hang out with the likes of David. That once she disappeared, it almost seemed, as sad as it sounds and as dramatic as it sounds, it almost seems as if no one really cared until her body was actually found. That's what it seems like to me. But nonetheless, he is being named a suspect, and now they're saying that they were able to track that Tesla out to Santa Barbara in the middle of the night in a remote area, and he was in that remote area for several hours before that car returned back to the place where it was parked. Why would it do that? Why would he do that? Maybe with the theory that I was saying, that maybe he packed up, he drove all the way out there. He discarded her remains somewhere, maybe buried her, or maybe put her in somebody's home. Then that person or something, I don't know, or he had a change of heart. God only knows. And he went out there to go get the remains, put it in the frunk of his Tesla with plans to move it later. And maybe he just got busy with getting ready for the tour, and maybe he got too nervous. Because it was like, man, I can't believe I drove from Santa Barbara to Hollywood Hills with a deceased body in my car. I'm too scared to move it somewhere else right now. I'll come back, in between tours, in between dates on my tour, and deal with it later, only for it to be towed, and then, of course, her to be found later in that tow yard in the front of that Tesla. Nonetheless, though, all those theories, any of them could be true, okay? My main question is, what actually happened. The main thing that matters is, did she take something that took her life and then he freaked out? Did they have, was it I don't know, a lover's quarrel? Was it a crime of passion? What actually happened here? And why would he, as they have confirmed, dismantle, for lack of a better term, her remains, put them in a bag, and do all the other things that they're saying that he or someone else or him and somebody else helped him do? So that's some very interesting stuff. But nonetheless, Ashley Banfield had Harvey Levin from TMZ on the show, and they're talking about all the information that Harvey Levin broke on his show, right, on his platform. And I think it's very interesting. So we're going to listen to this because this is some wild stuff. Let's rock and roll.
Last night at this time, we were all over what seemed to be a coordinated leak from the LAPD about Celeste Rivas Hernandez and her rich and famous and much older boyfriend, the singer known as David. While his stage name is spelled with a 4, his legal name is David Anthony Burke, plain and simple. The bombshell this week was that the LAPD sources say investigators now consider David a suspect.
It's about damn time.
Which might raise the question, what took him so long?
Yeah, no
Except
doubt.
that 2.5 months after Celeste's decomposing remains were found in David's Tesla, authorities still aren't saying how the young runaway died or whether anyone else had a hand in it. TMZ, as often happens, was the first in line for that leak. And they say David may not be the only suspect on the investigators' radar. The outlet also reports that David made a quick and mysterious trip to a remote part of Santa Barbara County. That was back in the spring.
Now, again, if her body, because it just doesn't make any sense that her body would decompose that rapidly. I get it. For those of y'all who are still thinking that she had only been in there for a few months or a few weeks or whatever, that, LA heat during the summertime and all that stuff can be really, really intense. And decomposition can accelerate rapidly. But at the same time, the way that they describe her remains, the fact that they could not identify her, they had to do DNA tests to identify her. That's how badly decomposed it was. Says a lot to me. It's not just, she was in there for just a few weeks. No, I think she was in there and maybe buried somewhere for several months, y'all. Okay? They're saying as far back, the theory is as far back as January. So again, if she may have lost her life in January and she was found 8-9 months later, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time to decompose, y'all. I hate to put that theory and that thought into your brains, but I got to put that bee in your bonnet because that's some crazy stuff. So again, it could have accelerated even more because maybe it was, maybe it was in some sort of refrigeration. Maybe it was in a freezer or something of that sort. That's possible too. But yes, things to think about. I still truly think that she had been gone for several months, not just a few weeks, several months. But let's continue.
He apparently set out in the middle of the night. Weird. TMZ says he returned to LA a few hours later. Then I spoke with TMZ's Harvey Levin about all of these new details. Here's our conversation.
Harvey, what are the sources in the LAPD suggesting when it comes to this case right now?
Well, we're getting more than suggesting. We know what's going on. So there is not an official cause of death yet because the medical examiner has not ruled, nor have the toxicology reports been given to LAPD. But what I can tell you is that the robbery homicide unit and the investigators looking at this case are viewing this as a homicide and viewing David, the singer, as the suspect.
Well, there's my next question. A suspect, because there was some intimation that was too difficult a job for one person to carry out. So are they thinking that there are more involved?
They believe there is more than one person involved in this based on the way and the manner in which the body was discovered, that it was cut up, and I don't know why, but they believe that it couldn't be the work of just one person.
this weird trip to Santa Barbara County. Apparently, your sources have unearthed this. Walk me through what it was, when it was, how long it lasted, the whole story behind this trip.
So we are told that in the spring of this year, I can't give you a month, I'm just told the spring, David went to a remote area of Santa Barbara County, which is about 100 miles from where he lives in Los Angeles, a remote area of Santa Barbara County in the middle of the night, and spent a couple of hours there.
So again, why would he drive out to Santa Barbara in the middle of the night, which is 100 plus miles away from where he actually lives? Why would he drive all the way out there in the middle of the night to go hang out there for several hours just to come back? What's the reason? A studio session in the middle of the night? That just doesn't make sense to me. A booty call? Maybe, but a booty call several hours away? You know what I mean? Not several hours, but you know what I mean? A couple hours away? I don't know. And for him to just return several hours later, I don't know. It just seems a little bit weird. It seems weird, but let's let him cook.
And that is a hugely important part of this case, the way I understand it. And I don't want to be more specific, but, based on, all the things that are going on, that is a point that seemed to stand out when we got this story, that this Santa Barbara trip is very, very important. Now, what does the Santa Barbara trip mean? Remember, it's spring, and his body wasn't found until early September. So, her body, rather, early September. So we're talking months. So, you could theorize that maybe he went to try and bury a body. Maybe he would have gone to bury a weapon. But if it was a body, why was the body found in the trunk of his car in Los Angeles months and months later? Would they have gone and picked it up and brought it back? Now, there are some people who are saying, well, wait a minute, maybe he took Celeste there and allegedly, did her in there. The reason I don't think that's the case is we were told David went to Santa Barbara County, not they went to Santa Barbara County. And, it makes me think, how would they know David went? If it was just a cell phone, I don't think what they would say David went. I think what we would get is his cell phone pinged in that area. We got the word David. That makes me think there is video from his Tesla.
That's what I think too. I think there's actual video from his Tesla that they were able to retrieve and see that he was in that car by himself. Now, did he go out there for, it's a multitude of different things he could have been out there for, okay? He could have been out there for a booty call. He could have been out there for, for a studio session. Could have been out there to get a hookup, you know what I'm saying? Get a little substances or whatever. But in the middle of the night seems a little bit weird for all of that and to drive all the way out to Santa Barbara of all places, specifically for any of those things at that particular time seems a little bit strange to me. That's just me. I don't know how artists work. Okay, I don't, but I do think that's a little bit strange. But outside of that, the fact that, okay, maybe her remains were there. Maybe that's what he went to go retrieve her remains. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be asking, then why would he go and dig her up? You know what I mean? Or go get her? Well, you never know. Maybe there was some sort of threat. Maybe the person that was actually holding the remains may have said, yo, you need to get this now. I can't take this. I can't have this anymore. You know what I mean? Or something of that sort that made him go and get it. Did he dig her up? Maybe. Or maybe he just retrieved her from some sort of refrigeration. That's possible too, right? But nonetheless, he did this. He drove out to Santa Barbara and then was there for several hours and came back. And then now we find that a 14-year-old girl, okay, that was about to turn, was found a few days before her 15th birthday, was found in the frunk of his Tesla, Celeste Rivas. Okay? So again, a lot of questions here.
And that they have gotten into the Tesla. We know they have data from the Tesla. And maybe there is video showing him there, that they could track it there and they could see him there. And I don't know what it is that he did there, and it may well be that the LAPD knows, but we don't know yet.
Well,
But
and
something big happened during that trip.
Definitely something big happened. I agree. I think that this trip, like they said right here in the lower third, this quick trip to Santa Barbara, which was not really a quick trip. If he's out there for several hours, it wasn't really a quick trip. But anyway, this quick trip that he had to Santa Barbara, yes, I think is a massive piece of information that could echo my theory. I think that maybe she was left out there and then he went to go get her. Maybe the memory remains, right? The guilt of her, right? Kept lingering. Her ghost was in his face and he could not take the guilt anymore and had to go out there and dig her up and maybe take her to a proper place, or maybe just say, F it, let me get myself caught. I don't know, because it doesn't make sense. If he was trying to get himself caught now, and the fact that they're saying that has not been cooperating with police, that doesn't, you know what I mean? That doesn't go with that idea of him saying like, all right, it's finally time to fess up the truth, right? So this is very interesting. Let's continue.
do they know where he is? At this point, does anyone actually know where David is?
Well, I don't know if the LAPD knows. He was in LA. If he is still here, he is virtually in hiding because there are a lot of paparazzi agencies in LA. And, you know, that photograph is worth a lot to these agencies.
No doubt.
So if he's spotted out, they're probably going to get a picture of him. And we haven't seen any of these agencies say, hey, we got a picture of David. So if he's here, he is underground. And I think there's a good chance that maybe he went somewhere else where it's not going to be as, you know, where there aren't going to be these, you know, paparazzi agencies around. But we haven't seen him, and I don't know where he is. I know he was in LA, but that was weeks ago.
What do you think is about to happen? Do you think he's about to be in cuffs?
Well, we were told not in the near future. I don't know what near future means. One of the problems is the medical examiner has not determined cause of death, and they have not given toxicology to LAPD. Even if say the medical examiner comes back and says undetermined, the LAPD could still move forward, and my sense from our reporting is they would. But I'm told, and I don't know what the specifics here are, is that the relationship between the LA County Medical Examiner and the LAPD has not been great over the last few years. And even though they could fast track, if they wanted to, the medical examiner could fast track some of these, the tests that they're doing, my sense is they have not done so because, you know, it can take 3 months easy for something like this, but they could also fast track it. And based on our conversations, that does not seem to have been done. And it may speak to the relationship that LAPD has with the medical examiner. I don't know what's behind it, but that's what I was told.
Well, if that is the case, then LAPD and medical examiner, you know, the medical examiner office, they need to just like, you know, sit down, have a little powwow and get over their issues, right? If that's the case. If there's drama going on internally, that's not good to hear, okay? That's not something that you want to hear. You want to know that they're working diligently, trying to get as much information as they can, as quickly as possible out to the general public, because at the end of the day, let's be real. Let's just say it's not David, okay? Regardless, if it's David or not, actually, let me just say that, there is still somebody out there. If this woman, if this young girl lost her life at the hands of somebody sinister, then there is some monster still out there in the streets that could cause havoc and cause harm to other people of Los Angeles or wherever that monster may be. Now, again, if this is David, then he needs to be brought to justice as quickly as possible. But also at the same time, if he did not do this by himself, the other person as well needs to be brought to justice as quickly as possible. So again, no matter what, it doesn't even matter. Let's be real. One, there needs to be some sort of transparency to the general public, okay? Because a lot of people are worried about what happened here. The theories have been going out of this out of control, out of this world, all right? And people want to know what actually happened here, okay? Like I said, the theories have been absolutely nuts. Was she sacrificed? Was she, was she moved? Was she trafficked? Stuff like that is just being thrown out here like crazy. And we don't have any of the answers yet. The people that hold the answers, medical examiner office, LAPD. If they aren't working in tandem and working in unison with each other in a harmonious way, then that turns into a heap load of issues and a heap load of trouble. That's not what we need to hear. So hopefully they'll push their differences aside and get straight down to the nitty gritty, because there's still somebody out there that could potentially be a menace to society, can be a danger to all of us civilians out here. And that person needs to be brought into justice. Anyway, guys, that's the video. Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Where do you stand on this? Okay. Again, do you think that this theory is correct? Or do you think he just went out there for a booty call? Or for like a studio session? Or because he just thinks that Santa Barbara sunsets are a lot better than LA sunsets or sunrises. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but I'm curious about what you think, okay? So comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hit that like button down below. Crush that subscribe button, and we'll be talking here very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.